As tall as it is for me, the hardest part is in the dirt. You know, you get these high sides where the back tire's up on something, the front tire's on something, and all of a sudden I'm doing the Fred Flintstone. First time on the 2023 Ducati DesertX. This thing is too tall for me. Way too tall. 34 inches and change off the ground. Now you can get a lower seat setting and a suspension kit. That is an added accessory to get it down to, I think, 33.1 inches, which would make a difference for me, but it's got some great clearance. I do really enjoy it while I'm riding it. Yeah, it's got a bit more pickup than I had suspected it would have. I mean, I realize it's 937 cc's, which is plenty, but just wasn't quite sure about the setup on this. This is got plenty of power to get you out of trouble if you're cruising down the freeway. Not much vibration. I was actually expecting a little more. Again, you know, with the tires and all, but you can change those out if you need to. More road, more dirt, but your preference. Here we go, though. At a light. My 29-inch inseam, my feet go down, and I am on the very tip top of my toes. It's light enough, though, that it doesn't really bother me as much as I thought it would. I do like the self-canceling signals. That's always nice. Let's try Ducati Quick Shift. There we go, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. No clutch. That is so bitchin'. That might be my favorite thing on this bike. This basically is a bike that will take you on and off the road in some very extreme situations. It's a minimalist type of design. It's $17,000 and change from Ducati, of course. But this bike right here, I really did when I saw it. I was like, okay, minimalist, see how this thing does on the freeway. It's probably not a traveler. It is. You can take this long distance. It's got a steering damper here, which I thought, how much does that help? It really helps to keep you true when you're going through ruts and bumps in the dirt, so you can keep the bike straight. It's got a 5.5-inch TFT display here that I didn't realize until this bike. You know how most of them are landscape that I bring in? They're sideways. I like this portrait mode. It's very easy to read from top to bottom. It's got 5 or 6 different riding modes. Plenty of power. It's a 937 cc motor with 110 horsepower, 68 foot-pounds of torque, tubeless tires, chain driven.
How big a tank?
It's a 5.5 gallon tank, and I believe it'll get you a couple hundred miles, maybe 210, 215. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, with today's gas prices, yeah, it really is. And this is a 2-up. You can put somebody on the back.
Absolutely. You have the foot pegs here.
Can you imagine, Casey, sitting back here, hanging off?
No.
Yeah, me either.
My father would kill me.
Oh,
Yeah.
would he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, this is, yeah.
And you've got like a 9.8-inch ground clearance. It's 445 pounds dry. You know, they always list that. I don't care what it is dry. I care what it is curb weight when you have it loaded and you're on it,
Right.
which I believe is 490 and 492. Right. So it's a lighter bike, which also makes it easier to handle off-road. I don't know how the camera looks, but it's pretty bumpy where I'm riding right now, and it's easy to handle on this bike. I like that it's got the different settings for on and off road and the suspension. It was good through the rocks, through some of the soft sand. Nothing extreme, but there were the bumps and the ruts. I felt good the entire way through. If the back tire slipped just a little bit, you just gas it a little bit and you pull yourself right out of it. Though too tall for me, as I've indicated before on this video, I do feel good while I'm riding it on and off the road. And just to give you a reference one more time, 29-inch inseam is what I've got. A little bit tall for me while I'm sitting still, while I'm riding, not a problem at all. Off-road, it makes me a little bit leery, just in case you hit those high points, as I mentioned. But I believe, in my personal opinion, that if you have a 31-inch inseam or longer, I believe that you would be okay on this bike, no problem. Now, I see guys who are a lot shorter than me, and gals, who ride these bikes, but they're also kind of jumping way to the side. And I've even seen one video of a guy who literally has to jump off of the bike completely, and then just as he throttles it off of a stoplight, he jumps back on with the momentum. I personally wouldn't recommend that, but hey, to each their own. And you have 6 different riding modes on this bike. You have Sport, Urban, Touring, Wet, Enduro, and the brand new Rally mode. Your information display on this TFT. Do you want your range? You want to show your trip? You have different tripometers, by the way. That's what I call them. Your speed, how long were you riding, and so much more than that. Now, how do you want your fuel indicator to read? You want to see your range, your fuel level, Do you want your daytime running lights on automatically? Do you want it to be manual? I would always do automatic, of course, just for safety reasons. And your display has different themes. You have automatic, you have light, a dark theme. How bright do you want your TFT display to be? I never mess with the pin code ever unless it's my bike. Self-explanatory, you can set the date format, what language do you want it in, your tire calibration. Do you want your turn indicators to go off automatically once you've made your turn? I would always choose that. What language do you want this TFT display in? And I haven't shown you half of what this thing will do. I mean, there's Ducati wheelie control, there's traction control. I'm scratching the surface of what this onboard computer will tell you about your bike. And here's what the display looks like the way I had it set up. So the bottom left around clockwise would be your air temperature. Upper left, there's 101 miles left on the tank. In the center of the upper screen, that is actually where you can time your laps if you choose to. Of course, your time of day on the upper right. Bottom right is the engine temperature. You also have your trips that you choose, trip 1, trip 2, you know, the time that you rode, the mileage. You can see obviously your RPMs, your miles per hour. It's really just this onboard computer will show you just about everything you'd ever want to know about your ride.